She was down to her last $2. Desperate and ashamed, a single mother reached out to her brother for help buying baby formula, but she typed one digit wrong. The message landed in the hands of a billionaire who had not smiled in years. What started as a mistake soon unraveled a deeper connection, one neither of them could have seen coming. It was a simply cry for help, but it would become the turning point of both their lives. Tasha Brown sat on a faded sofa in a small, dimly lit apartment. The peeling paint on the walls matched the weight in her chest. Her 6-month-old daughter, Mia, had been fussing for hours. Tasha had watered down her last bottle of formula that morning, and now there was none left. She opened her banking app. $2.13. That was all she had. No food stamps until Friday, no paycheck, no backup plan. With trembling hands, she opened her messaging app and typed a text. "James, I hate to ask again, but can you please send me $40 for Mia's formula? I get paid Friday. I promise I will pay you back." She hit send before guilt could stop her. She felt sick to her stomach. She hated begging, but her daughter's tiny cries from the bedroom reminded her pride would not feed Mia. Miles away, in a sleek glass office high above the city, 42-year-old billionaire David Carter glanced at his phone. He expected a message from his attorney or his assistant, but what he read made him sit upright. "I hate to ask again, but can you please send me $40 for Mia's formula?" David frowned. Who was Mia, and why was someone asking him for money? Only a handful of people had this number. It had to be a mistake. But something in those words, the desperation, the humility, it struck a chord deep in his chest. He typed back, "I believe you have the wrong number. I am not James." Tasha stared at her screen in horror. Wrong number. She had typed it too fast. Her eyes filled with tears. Another mistake, another dead end. She replied quickly, "I am so sorry. Please ignore that." She tossed her phone onto the couch and buried her face in her hands. She had failed again. A few seconds later, her phone buzzed. One new message. "Will your baby be okay?" Tasha blinked. Her chest tightened. Who is this man, and why does he care? "We will manage," she replied, trying to sound stronger than she felt. "Sorry to bother you." Then came the unexpected. He wrote, "I could help. No strings attached." Tasha let out a dry laugh. Help? From a stranger? Not in this world. She typed back, "Thanks, but I do not take money from strangers." He replied, "Smart choice, but now I am not a stranger. I am David. What formula does your baby need?" Her hands hovered over the keyboard. She did not know why, but something told her he was telling the truth. She typed slowly, "It's called Fam Care Gentle. It's the only kind that doesn't upset her stomach." He asked, "What is your Venmo?" She hesitated, but she was tired. Her baby was hungry. What did she have to lose? She sent it. 1 second later, her phone buzzed again. Her eyes widened. $400. Her fingers flew across the screen. "This is too much. I cannot accept this." David replied, "Think of it as help for the next few months. One less thing to worry about." Tasha stared at the screen. She had not cried when she lost her job, not when her brother moved away, not when the eviction notice appeared on her door. But now she cried, because kindness from a stranger had cracked open something in her heart. "Thank you," she typed softly. "You're welcome, Tasha. Take care of Mia." And then she froze. She had never told him her daughter's name. She never told him her baby's name, but the billionaire knew, and now her fear grew louder than her gratitude. Who was this man really? His kindness felt genuine, but Tasha had learned the hard way. Nothing good came free. When her phone buzzed again the next morning, she braced for regret. Instead, she found an offer, a job, a second chance. But behind the polished glass doors of his empire, Tasha was about to learn, kindness always comes with a cost. Tasha stared at her phone screen, her chest tight. "You're welcome, Tasha. Take care of Mia." Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. Her heart pounded in her ears. She had never told him her daughter's name. Not once. Had she? How do you know her name?" she finally typed, her thumb trembling as she hit send. No reply came. Minutes passed. She paced the room, eyes flicking toward the door, ears tuned to Mia's soft breathing. She had accepted money from a stranger, a rich stranger. Her mother's voice echoed in her head. "You trust too easy, baby girl." Was this all kind of a scam? A setup? Then, hours later, her phone buzzed. "I owe you an explanation. May I call?" Tasha hesitated. Every instinct screamed no. But she had questions, and she was tired of living in fear. She tapped yes. The phone rang once, twice. "Hello," she said cautiously. "Tasha, this is David Carter. I apologize. Never meant to frighten you." "Then how do you know my daughter's name?" she asked directly. "I showed your message to someone who knows you, my employee, James Carter, your brother." Tasha's knees buckled. She sat down hard. "My brother works for you?" she whispered. "He does," David confirmed, "in our HR department. When I showed him the message, he realized you must have mistyped his number by one digit. He told me about you, how smart you are, how you've been trying to get back on your feet." Tasha was silent. "He said you have a degree in accounting," David continued, "and that you're the most honest person he knows." Tasha swallowed hard. Her throat felt dry. "You talked to James?" she finally said. "He never told me." "He doesn't know I'm contacting you again, but I wanted to do more than send money. I want to offer you a job." Tasha's stomach flipped. "A job?" she repeated, stunned. "Yes, it's a short-term contract. We need someone to review internal accounts before a major merger. It's honest work, well-paid, flexible hours, and we have on-site childcare." Tasha blinked. Her eyes filled again, but this time not with sorrow. She asked, "What's the catch?" "No catch," he said. "Only trust." The next morning, she stood in front of the bright tech building, holding Mia on her hip. It rose into the sky like a mirror, reflecting the clouds. Tasha felt small, but she straightened her shoulders. She had dressed in her best, clean slacks, a second-hand blazer, and hope buried deep inside. A woman in a gray suit greeted her at the door. "Ms. Brown, I am Susan. Follow me, please." Tasha was led through the gleaming halls to a private office. It was nothing like she expected. There were children's books on a shelf, a crib, even a stuffed giraffe in the corner. "Make yourself comfortable," Susan said kindly. "Mr. Carter will be with you shortly." Tasha stepped inside and sat down, gently placing Mia in the crib. The room smelled of lavender. She took a breath. Then she heard footsteps and a voice. "She looks peaceful." Tasha turned and saw him, David Carter, tall, suit crisp, eyes unreadable. "You are David," she said, standing. "I am. Thank you for coming," he replied, offering his hand. They sat. "I know this is strange. I don't make it a habit to interfere in people's lives. And I don't make it a habit to accept money from strangers," Tasha replied. He smiled faintly. "But yesterday was different," he said quietly. "Yesterday was the anniversary of my daughter's death. She was 8 years old. Cancer." Tasha's breath caught. Her walls softened. "When your message came in," David continued, "it felt like a sign, a chance to help where I couldn't before." She looked into his eyes, and for the first time, she believed him. Then he slid a manila envelope across the desk. "This is the job, a real offer, a real paycheck. You'll be reviewing internal accounts." Tasha opened the papers, her jaw dropped at the salary. "This is more than my last job ever paid," she whispered. "You're worth it," David said. But just as she reached for the pen to sign, he added one more thing. There is one condition. This job, it comes with trust, total confidentiality. Tasha looked up. What kind of numbers am I looking at? His voice dropped. Ones I suspect have been doctored, but I can't be sure yet. And with that, the door closed behind them.
She took the job to repay kindness, but what she uncovered could destroy a billion-dollar empire. The deeper Tasha dug into the company's books, the more she realized this was no accounting error. It was a crime, and someone powerful had buried it deep. When a man she had never met whispered a warning in her ear, her blood turned cold. She thought she was helping. Instead, she had stumbled into a war, and now they were watching her and her baby. Tasha started the job that Monday. The suite next to David's office had been transformed for her. A crib, a coffee station, a small desk with neatly stacked files. Every morning, Susan greeted her with a smile and a latte. Every afternoon, David checked in with quiet gratitude. Mia giggled and napped beside her while she worked. It felt surreal, like a dream she might wake from at any moment. But the numbers, they did not lie. At first, it was small things, receipts that didn't match, vendor payments with strange gaps. Then one Thursday afternoon, she spotted it, an invoice coded as a furniture expense, but the supplier was an offshore account. She ran the numbers again, her pulse quickened. In just one quarter, $870,000 had vanished into vague operations. By the next day, that number had grown to over $3 million, siphoned off over 18 months. She printed the report and took it to David. "How bad is it?" he asked. "Worse than I thought. And someone is covering their tracks." David's jaw tightened. He stared at the report for a long moment, then looked up. "Prepare a full analysis. Do not tell anyone, not even James." Tasha nodded slowly. "Why not James?" "Because I do not know who I can trust anymore," David said quietly. That night, as she rocked Mia to sleep in the office, a chill ran through her. The hallway light flickered. Outside the door, she heard slow footsteps, then silence. She stepped into the corridor. It was empty. But when she returned, there was a business card on her desk. Vincent Harmon, Chief Financial Officer. Scrawled on the back in sharp handwriting were 4 words: "Be careful what you find." The next day, he appeared in person. "Miss Brown, I hear you're reviewing our books," he said, stepping into the office uninvited. "Just part of the contract." He smiled, but it did not reach his eyes. "Just remember, this company was doing just fine before you arrived. We would hate for anyone to complicate things." He glanced at Mia. Tasha's stomach turned. "Excuse me," she said, voice clipped. Vincent left without another word. Later that afternoon, her phone buzzed. Unknown caller. "This is Detective Ramos. I need to speak with you regarding financial irregularities at Bright Tech." Tasha's throat dried. "Am I in trouble?" "I would prefer to speak in person. And bring your child's information." That night, she told David everything. He went pale. "It is happening faster than I thought," he said. Then, with trembling hands, he unlocked a drawer in his desk and pulled out a thick folder. Inside were printed emails, forged contracts, and confidential memos. "I have been working with the FBI. Vincent is laundering money. I knew something was wrong, but I needed someone outside the system to find the proof. Someone honest." Tasha's mouth opened. "You used me. I gave you real work, and I trusted you. But yes, I hoped you might be the one to expose it. You were never supposed to be in danger." Before she could respond, Susan burst into the room. "They are here," she said breathlessly. "Police, and they are accusing both of you of embezzlement." Tasha's heart dropped. "What?" she cried. "But I just got here." "They're trying to bury the truth," David said. "Susan, get her out, now." "Where?" Tasha demanded, holding Mia tight. "To a safe house. Go. I will fix this, I promise." Tasha was ushered through a hidden elevator behind a bookshelf. It descended into a quiet garage where a black SUV waited. No sirens, no lights. 30 minutes later, she was in a silent apartment overlooking the river. Mia slept soundly in a bassinet. Tasha could not. At midnight, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Are you safe? Tasha. Who is this? Response. It's me, David. The FBI is ready, but I need your help to finish this. Tasha looked at her sleeping daughter. She could disappear, run, start over. Or she could end this. She took a breath. I'll be there. She had nothing, just a baby and a mistake. But now, Tasha was the key to taking down a multi-million-dollar fraud. The boardroom was filled with suits, lies, and fear. One man was armed, another was desperate, and she was standing there with everything to lose. Would they believe her? Would they protect her child? She had no badge, no title, only the truth. But sometimes, truth is all it takes to bring the powerful to their knees. The next morning, the black SUV returned. Tasha strapped Mia into the car seat with trembling hands. David sat beside her, silent, his jaw tight. He wore no suit, just a gray sweater and resolve in his eyes. "You still sure about this?" he asked. "No," she said honestly, "but I am not running." The Brightech board meeting was already in session when they arrived. The glass-walled conference room overlooked the skyline. Tasha held Mia close as they stepped through the doors. All eyes turned. At the head of the table stood Vincent Harmon, his voice confident. "I regret to inform the board that our CEO and a contracted accountant have embezzled over $3 million. We must act immediately." Murmurs rippled across the room. Board members stared at David. Some looked shocked, others smug. David did not flinch. "Those are serious claims, Vincent, but we deserve to hear both sides." Then the door opened again. 2 FBI agents walked in, and behind them, Tasha. She took a deep breath and laid a thick file on the table. "My name is Tasha Brown," she began, voice steady. "I was brought in to audit the company's books. What I found was not negligence, it was theft." She clicked a button on the screen. Charts, bank transfers, forged signatures. "I trace funds moved to shell accounts under Vincent Harmon's control. Over 18 months, the loss totaled $3.4 million. Gasps filled the room. Vincent laughed. "This is a setup." One FBI agent stepped forward. "We have your digital fingerprints on every transaction. We also have emails, recorded calls, and statements from 3 cooperating witnesses." Vincent's face turned pale. He reached into his pocket. Tasha's heart jumped. But David stepped in front of her instantly, just as agents tackled Vincent to the ground. A metallic clatter echoed. He had pulled a USB, not a weapon. But it was over. As he was dragged away, he looked up at Tasha. "You don't belong here," he hissed. "I do now." 2 days later, Tasha stood outside David's office. The building felt different, brighter, calmer. "You saved the company," David said, handing her a signed letter. Head of Internal Audit. Full-time, 6-figure salary, on-site daycare, a private office. "And I think you might fall in love with it just a little bit," he added. He reached into his desk, a small velvet box. Tasha's breath caught. Inside was a simple, elegant ring. Nothing flashy, just honest. "You changed my life, Tasha," he said quietly. "Let me change yours." Tears welled in his eyes. "I thought I was texting my brother," she whispered. David smiled. "Turns out you dialed into something better." 6 months later, Brightech held its annual company gala. Tasha walked through the golden-lit ballroom in a sleek navy dress, Mia giggling in her arms. The employees stood to applaud her as David raised a toast. "To bravery," he said, locking eyes with her. "To truth, and to the family we find when we least expect it." The music played, laughter danced through the air, and on Tasha's finger, under the chandelier light, the ring shimmered like a promise. She had nothing when she sent that message, but what she gained was everything.